Hello students, welcome to La Excellence IAS Kalam program, Season 2, Episode 24. This is a GS Mains Answer Writing Initiative. I am Kiranmai and we will be continuing this season for about 50 episodes. Let us look at today's question. The question says, without the Poona Pact of 1932, the Indian Constitution would never have been affirmative for the upliftment of depressed sections of society. This question is for 10 marks and we have to write the answer in 150 words. This is from General Studies Paper 1, from Modern Indian History and from the topic of freedom struggle. If we look at the context in which this question is asked, you all are aware that yesterday, that is the April 14th, was 129th birth anniversary of father of our constitution. Who is the father of our constitution? Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. He, as a child, was subjected to various forms of discriminations, being from the depressed classes. And so, he went on to become the voice of depressed classes. He fought for their rights till the end of his life. What was Poona Pact and what is its relation to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? In 1932, there was a communal award which was given by Ramsay MacDonald. What was this award? It was to divide the electorate, the Hindu electorate, so that the depressed classes would have a separate electorate and they would elect their representatives to the seats which are reserved to them in the Legislative Assembly. Okay, so Ramsay MacDonald gave a communal award which was intending to divide the electorate into two electorates, one for the depressed classes and one for the general classes. Okay, the depressed classes electorate would elect their own representatives from a reserved set of seats. This was the communal award. Against this, Gandhiji undertook a fast unto death, and after long negotiations between Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Gandhiji, Poona Pact was signed, which called for reserved seats in legislature, but then common electorate. Everybody could, in that constituency, could vote for that reserved seat, though the contestant would be from the depressed classes. So this is the essence of the Poona Pact, as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar played a major role in Poona Pact signing. This question has been asked. Now let us see some of the value addition points for this answer. Rather than value addition, I would say these are prerequisites to write this answer, because this is a question from history. There is no option, but you have to study the background of the Poona Pact. Only then you will be able to write this answer. Okay, history is from static syllabus, and so you will have to read about what is the background of Poona Pact so as to answer this question. Apart from that, you will also need to know what are the provisions in the Constitution that talk about affirmative action. For example, under Article 15 and 16, the state is permitted. There is an exemption which permits the state to make any provisions for advancement of the backward sections. Okay, so that is a provision for reservation. You need to know such articles and their exemptions. And then you also need to know the benefits of the reservations that have been given, how they lead to the upliftment of the depressed classes so as to enrich your answer. So one prerequisite is the history as well as the benefits of reservations, while a knowledge of the articles which give effect to reservations is an important value addition to our answer. Now let us look at what is to be avoided while writing this answer. As the question says about the upliftment of depressed sections of the society, we tend to deviate. We tend to write about the problems of depressed classes, what were the historical injustices done to them, how they were deprived from having their representation both in the political sphere as well as in the employment. Though this gives a background to the communal award and then Poona Pact, for us the time and space are limited. So even if you're writing about the problems of depressed classes, don't elaborate about them. You can just write in one statement or maximum two statements. Don't elaborate on them. Let us now look at how to approach the answer in the introduction, body and conclusion format. See, this is a question asking about Poona Pact. Usually, I would like to elaborate on Poona Pact. But here, because a background knowledge of communal award is necessary, I think it is better to introduce by writing the background of why Poona Pact was signed. That is about the communal award, why communal award was given, what has led to the signing of Poona Pact, that is Gandhiji's fast unto death, and then the negotiations between Gandhiji and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So this will form the introduction, the background of why Poona Pact was signed. Coming to the body part, here we can divide it into multiple subheads and write about what are the provisions of the Poona Pact, how it brought about affirmative action. What do you mean by affirmative action? Affirmation is positive discrimination. It is another name for the reservations that are given. Okay. So how the Poona Pact served as a precursor for reservations and how the reservations helped in the upliftment of depressed classes. So you are trying to connect the Poona Pact and upliftment of depressed sections of the society in the body part. Then in the conclusion, as I always say, it has to be optimistic and positive. Try to bring about the importance of reservations, how reservations played an important role in the upliftment of depressed sections of the society, you can write in the conclusion. Let us now look at a sample answer. The person writes, Poona Pact was signed in the aftermath of Communal Award of 1932. So he is writing the background in which Poona Pact was signed. Here he has written a small diagrammatic representation where he writes Communal Award of 1932. He is making it presentable. Here he writes, divided the Hindu electorate to draw out the depressed classes which could elect own leaders. And then he writes, reserved 71 seats for the depressed classes in the Central Legislative Assembly. Yes, Communal Award divided the electorate as well as it called for reservation of seats for depressed classes. So here he is giving a background of why Poona Pact was signed, just as we discussed. He then writes, Congress viewed it as an attack on the unity of Hindus, and Gandhiji undertook fast unto death. After long negotiations between Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, here he described Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the spokesperson for the depressed classes. After long negotiations between Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Gandhiji, Poona Pact was signed. And again he is giving a representation about the Poona Pact. What does he write here? Increased reservation for depressed classes by more than double. Here it was proposed that 71 seats would be reserved. What Poona Pact did was, it increased the reservation to 147 seats. So it has become more than double. And then he writes, joint electorate for election of reserved candidates. We have discussed this also. This Poona Pact eliminated the concept of separate electorates. Okay. And then he writes, earmarking a portion of educational grant for depressed classes so that they could read in the public educational institutions. They were given reservations. Okay. So that is the essence of Poona Pact. He is represented in a small diagrammatic format. What does he write next? He writes, the pact prevented division of Hindus on caste lines and provided for fair and increased representation of depressed classes. He says that it provided for increased representation of depressed classes. Let us see what he writes further. He writes, the pact was widely accepted by upper caste Hindus, who suggested that the acceptance of history of discrimination and injustice done to the depressed classes. So the upper caste Hindus have accepted that there was injustice done to the depressed classes and they were discriminated in a bad manner. This was accepted by upper caste, and that is why they have accepted for the pact which increased the reservation to the depressed classes. Okay, and he writes, Congress took the moral responsibility for upliftment of depressed classes. And then he writes, the reservations provided in Communal Award and Poona Pact served as precursors to the reservations in the Constitution of Independent India. Okay, so this reservation served as precursor to the reservations in Constitution of India, which we have already discussed. So he then draws a small multilinear flow diagram wherein he says reservations or affirmative action to depressed classes leads to three things. One is increased representation in political sphere, increased educational opportunities, increased representation in public employment, all that leading to upliftment of depressed classes. Okay, so this is a small flow chart he is drawing to say how reservations helped in the upliftment of depressed classes. He then writes, the reservations served as the most important mechanism. So he is telling the importance of reservations. The reservation served as the most important mechanism to erase the historic injustices, and hence it can be said that Poona Pact has played an important role in affirmative action for upliftment of depressed classes by the Constitution. If you observe, this is nothing but a repetition of what has been given in the question. The question has given a statement and he is just trying to repeat the statement. This is a good way of answering the conclusion. It shows that our answer is being relevant to the question asked. Okay? If we analyze the whole answer, he has written a good introduction just as we discussed, giving the background of Poona Pact. He then wrote what the provisions of Poona Pact are, and then he wrote how Poona Pact led to reservations in the Constitution of Independent India. Then he drew a chart mentioning about what are the benefits of reservation to depressed classes, how it brought about the upliftment of them. He wrote a simple conclusion by trying to copy from the text of the question. I think this is a decent enough answer. Let us all come to the end of the discussion. Before ending the discussion, today's topic for making notes is that of reservations. The history of reservations, how reservations found their place in the Constitution, and later in the course of post-independent India, how reservations evolved, what is the status of reservations now, including the latest 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, which gave reservations to the economically weaker sections. So make a note of around 2 pages, around 250 words, so that you would need to write only the extra points in the current affairs before your mains. Let us all meet again tomorrow. Thank you.